This is a story of how Jamaican bread came to Nigeria. In 1913, a Jamaican named Amos Shackelford arrived in Lagos, Nigeria, with his wife and 2 children. He was a baker by trade, and he noticed that Nigerian bread, which was mostly imported from Europe, was not soft enough for the tropical climate. Upon arriving in Lagos, he began selling imported European bread at the Idomota market, before moving to the popular Tuosho market, where he continued selling the hard bread. But there was one problem. These breads would go bad really quickly because they were not made for the hot, humid weather of the tropics. So at this point, he decided to open up his own bakery and start making his own bread. Before we continue, please take the time to subscribe if you haven't already done so. We've got loads of interesting videos coming up and it's free. Also, please take the time to watch this video to the end. That way you'll be able to tell someone what the video was all about when they ask you. Amos Shackelford started out his business at No. 100 Broad Street in Lagos Island, but later on, he moved to No. Weed to Idumagbo Street. In those days, most bakeries in Europe would soak their dough in warm water to make the dough more elastic, so they could roll them out into loaves. But this process wasn't suitable for the tropical climate in Nigeria. If the dough was soaked for too long, it would simply spoil, so Amos had to develop a new method. He invented a special dough break machine which allowed him to bake bread without soaking the dough. This innovation made his bread softer and lasted longer, which was perfect for the tropical climate. Word got around about his special Jamaican bread, and soon people from all over Lagos were coming to buy his bread. To meet the increasing demand, he employed more staff and expanded the business. At its peak, the Shackelford Bakery was producing 150 loaves of bread daily and sold each loaf for 6p. It was such a success that other bakers tried to copy his recipe and his methods, but they couldn't quite get it right. Some got their bread to taste close to his, but none could replicate the softness of Shackelford's bread. It soon became known as Shackelford bread. Meanwhile, other Jamaicans who heard about his success also came to Nigeria to start their own bakeries. But even though they used the same recipe and techniques, their bread didn't turn out as soft as Shackelford's, so customers would still prefer to buy the original from Shackelford. It was the talk of the town. People would joke about the mysteriousness of his bread making, saying that he must have charmed the oven or the flour to always come out with such soft bread. No one knew the secret behind his famous bread. Even his workers who kneaded the dough every day didn't know the secret either. All they knew was that Mr. Shackelford would put some strange-looking powder into the dough, and that was the secret ingredient. They never knew that he was putting sawdust in his dough. It wasn't all smooth sailing though. There were times when he wouldn't be able to sell all the bread he baked. Sometimes they would throw away as much as 100 loaves because no one could buy them all. In 1916, an outbreak of the Spanish flu pandemic led to a stay-at-home order by the British colonial government. This meant that people weren't going out as much, and so they weren't buying as many loaves of bread. Since no one was going out, there was also no need to travel to far-off places like Idomota and Tuosho markets to get their bread. They just stayed at home and ate what they had. Amos saw this coming, and so he began hoarding his flour in preparation for the slump in sales. But even then, he didn't have enough to last through the pandemic. And so when the order was eventually lifted and people went back to work, they found that he had closed shop. But in 1918, after the pandemic had passed, he reopened his bakery. Unfortunately, this time the flour he bought had gone bad, because he had stored them improperly. The bread he baked with the bad flour had a funny taste and smell, which scared off customers. He tried his best to recover, but it wasn't the same ever again. The once thriving business began to dwindle, and eventually he shut down the bakery for good in 1929 and returned to Jamaica. But his legacy lived on. After Shackelford left Nigeria, a Nigerian baker named Alhaji Aokunu visited his former bakery at No. 2 Idumagbo Street, now abandoned and empty. Although Shackelford was gone, his widow continued to sell the bread at the Idumota market, and she shared the secret with him. He then went on to establish his own bakery in the Ajaj suburb of Lagos. Using the same recipe and technique that made Shackelford bread famous, he was able to produce an almost identical soft bread. But because he was producing it in Ajaj, it became known as Ajaj bread. His production method was so effective that Ajaj bread remained fresh and soft for up to 2 weeks. Unlike any other bread produced in the country, Ajaj bread became a household staple and remains so till today. Fast forward to present day, the soft and fluffy Ajaj bread has remained a constant in the lives of Nigerians since 1930. Its fluffy and soft nature makes it ideal for the tropical climate of Nigeria. Every morning, hundreds of women and children would go to Ajaj to buy the freshly baked bread. Most of the vendors would resell the bread at the markets. You can find Ajaj bread being sold at almost every street corner in Nigeria. The bread is often eaten with tea or coffee in the mornings, and it is also very popular among students and office workers. It's also common to see people eat Ajaj bread with beans, custard, or even fried eggs. The versatility of Ajaj bread means that it can be enjoyed any time of the day. There are also countless Ajaj bread recipes available, and cooks across the country are always experimenting with new ways to use the bread. From Ajaj bread pudding to Ajaj bread croutons, the possibilities are really endless. One of the reasons why Ajaj bread has remained so popular over the years is because it is very affordable. Unlike other types of bread, Ajaj bread is made with locally sourced ingredients, which makes it cheaper to produce and therefore more accessible to a wider range of consumers. Another factor that has contributed to the enduring popularity of Ajaj bread is its adaptability. The bread can be eaten on its own or used as an ingredient in other dishes. This flexibility has made it a favorite among busy Nigerians who do want to have time to prepare elaborate meals. However, in recent years, Ajaj bread has faced stiff competition from other types of bread on the market, such as sandwich bread and burger buns. These other breads may be more convenient to use in certain dishes, but nothing beats the taste and texture of a freshly baked Ajaj bread. Despite the competition, Ajaj bread continues to be a staple in many Nigerian households, and its popularity shows no signs of waning anytime soon. One thing you might not know about Ajaj bread is that it has a very unique texture. The bread is very soft and fluffy, which makes it perfect for the tropical climate of Nigeria. Unlike other types of bread, Ajaj bread does not become stale or hard in a matter of days. It can stay fresh for up to 2 weeks if properly stored. This is because of the special baking technique used by Ajaj bakers. They use a special type of flour that is high in protein content and low in starch. This gives the bread its unique texture and helps it to stay fresh for longer. Ajaj bread is also baked in a special oven that is designed to keep the bread moist and fluffy. The story of how Jamaican bread came to Nigeria is a testament to the ingenuity of both the Jamaicans and Nigerians. It shows how immigrants can contribute to the cultural development of a new country while also preserving their own cultural traditions. From Shackelford's innovative baking techniques to the adaptation of his bread by Nigerian bakers, this story is a reminder of the importance of cultural exchange and the power of food to bring people together. As we continue to enjoy the delicious taste of Ajaj bread today, let us also remember the legacy of Amos Shackelford and the other Jamaicans who helped to shape the culinary history of Nigeria. Their story is an inspiration to us all and a reminder that with hard work and determination, anything is possible. If you liked this video, you'll definitely love the ones you're going to see right now.